All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Our Things podcast. This morning's episode, "The Warrior in the Garden: Balancing Preparedness and Peace." And if you're watching the live stream, we're about 30 minutes earlier than usual. I had a little bit of a challenge with my schedule, and Angie was able to accommodate. So we're coming at you about 30 minutes earlier, and we appreciate you being here. Angie, how are you doing this morning?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good for being up since 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
Feeling
gotta
good.
love those nights. Yeah, I'm a little bit chilly here in Maryland, man. I was gonna put the heat on, but in hotel rooms you can hear every little thing. So I was like, well, I'll just sit here and freeze. It'll be all right. It'll keep me awake.
There's a lot of I was watching the news. Apparently, there's been a lot of rain over the weekends on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Some rainy weather out your way. So
And
but
that
yeah, it's feeling like
rain.
fall. Like fall is here. Like it officially hit over the weekend.
Yeah.
I did the BT Epic, which is a 50-mile mountain bike race over the weekend,
Yeah.
and it was freaking just. I don't know. It was nice and cool, but it was definitely like fall weather, like chilly,
Mm-hmm.
just hard to. You just wanted to wear shorts because that's my normal routine. I'm like, this is not shorts weather.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, this morning's episode, we're going to talk about if you're watching the news, like I think most people are, there's a lot of uncertainty happening in the world. And we just want to, there's a concept that comes to mind. One of my favorite quotes is, "I'd rather be the warrior in the garden rather than the gardener in the war." It's a Chinese proverb. And with all the uncertainty, you turn on the news, recently, the terrorist attacks in Israel, you got Ukraine and Russia. We've got a dysfunctional a house, right? We don't even have a Speaker of the House right now. We're facing a government shutdown and Congress can't even function. We've got inflation. I mean, I'm going to the grocery store. How are people even making ends meet? There's just a lot of uncertainty in the world. And when you talk to people, you can just sense the uneasiness. And so how can you balance, your mindset, being prepared and navigating, all of the uncertainty and live a peaceful life? We want to maybe just give some constructs and some things, talk about some strategies of what we're doing to kind of maintain balance in this very uncertain world. I'm not one to watch a lot of news, but I've been pretty glued to the situation in Israel. I'm fascinated with the culture, and this has been like one of the most ongoing. I don't know. It's in civilization, right? This region has been just nonstop conflict. I find it kind of fascinating. In a way, I find it uneasy, and I mean, obviously, for so many reasons. And I just kind of feel like the stage is being set for something bigger on the global front. So I'm watching the news more than I typically do,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I'm just sensing the uneasiness that everyone is facing. And Angie, what are your thoughts about just the pulse of the world and how it intersects with your world?
Well, I feel like it really depends on how do I put this? It depends on what news source you're watching, who you surround yourself with, and just how you typically deal with things day to day. Uh, um, m- I've been here at school. I'm going to school for public affairs, so that's the news is something that we have to pay attention to. But I don't have an overarching um, feeling of doom and gloom, but that's also me. Like that's just how I am. Um,
You're too busy trying to make people smile.
yeah, I mean,
You got time for that.
yeah, there's a lot of people. There are a lot of people out there who just last week was so concerned about Hamas issuing the Day of Reckoning that they stressed out hardcore the entire day that something was going to happen, and they, by gosh, we're going to be ready. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
It's different
Well,
for
and
everyone.
that's I think that's what we want to try to talk about today, or the topic is the warrior in the garden is prepared.
Hmm.
They're not going to be terrorized, because that's what the terrorists want you to do, right? They put out this day of rage, and that's part of the terrorist methodology, is to have you so frightened that you don't do your day-to-day routine, right? In the fear. So, but unfortunately, that's the world that we live in. The world that we live in is, it's much safer than the news media and outlets would have you think. But that's part of the point, right? That's part of the from the media perspective. That's how they get eyeballs on what they're trying to sell and promote. This is
Mhm.
how terrorists get you to do what they want you to do, right? By inciting fear in you. And so finding balance in those things, because yeah, I was when I saw that on the news, like, oh, this may not be good. This could legitimately be a thing, or maybe it won't be a thing. And I remember, I was talking to Lacey, like, hey, what are you doing on Friday? Where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing? And she, where am I going to be, just in case something were to happen? But we're not going to like not live our life.
Mhm.
But, we are going to take precautions and be prepared. And, if something were to happen, what is the plan? What is the strategy in the event? But you should always have some form of preparedness plan to begin with, but it should
Yeah,
not, you should not be living
I
your life in fear.
I think that's the point. I think the whole point is we should always have our affairs in order, no matter what the state of the media is projecting the world as being in currently.
Yeah,
I think that's just pretty much the whole point of this episode is, having your stuff together. Get your stuff
absolutely.
together, no matter what, no matter if the media is projecting rainbows and unicorns or not.
Yes, because well, they can't sell their commercials if it's all rainbows and unicorns and nice, right? That's
Yeah,
it's the fear mongering that gets attention. And I don't know that the 24-hour news cycle is good for our society, but it's not going anywhere, right? Because there's
right,
so so how do you as an individual, like, I guess the question would be like, how much of it are you consuming, and
right.
is it a healthy amount, and are you finding balance in outlets, outside of that? Saturday I spent all day in the woods. I was down in Steelville. I have Verizon. Apparently, Verizon doesn't service that area. So I was like Friday night through like Sunday, no cell phone service. My friend had a little bit. So he's able just to
Mhm.
communicate with my wife that I'm alive. And I spent all day Saturday riding my mountain bike. And it was fantastic. I was just completely like just focused on the task at hand. There was no
Mhm.
like news, there was no like social media updates or any of the other stuff I got to deal with. And it was just great to be disconnected. And I came out of the woods, and on Sunday I checked in on the news real quick. No major changes. I'm going to try to. I've noticed that I was consuming a bit too much and trying to check out. But I guess the bottom line is find opportunities to disconnect yourself, and then
Mhm.
really monitor how much of that stuff that you're taking in. Did
Yeah.
you know that the average person is consuming about, this is globally, there are 4.48 billion people on social media, 50% of the world's population, and the average consumption rate is 2.5 hours of social media. So that's entertainment and like news and doom and gloom and
Mhm.
everything else combined. It's a lot.
Wow. That is a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, it's to be expected. It's a lot though. It's a lot. Ooh, it's a lot.
Yeah. It's disconcerting how much of that. And even just scrolling on my social media, entertainment, and then there's a lot of doom and gloom, and you get snippets of just craziness. And I
Well, it's
don't
just
know.
so easily accessible. I mean, we all have it in our pocket. We have it. We have been trained like little monkeys for with on our phones because our phone, like, I have my calendar on my phone. I use my phone to communicate with the people that I love. I use my phone to communicate with my workplace. I use my phone for everything, but also what's in my phone are the social media apps, right? And you've put out really good things in the forge about how to help yourself limit your time on sites that you don't want to be on. Setting up. Um, there's apps that will limit your time on social media or at
Yeah.
least make you more aware. What is the one app that you
The
had
one
that
that
one
I'm
time
using,
where
I
you're
just downloaded
planting
was
trees and stuff?
Oh yeah, I think it was called the Forest app or Tree app.
Yeah,
Oh, it was
yeah.
cool because it was like a productivity timer that was like
Mhm,
a game. So you create a forest, and
mhm,
trees are made. You have these different plants based on the amount of time that you're away from your cell phone,
mhm.
and so you can build these little gardens by just being productive and being focused. Um, a term that I recently ran into, a buddy of mine told me about, and is go into theater mode when you're at work or you're working on a project or you're engaged in your hobby. And what do you do when you go in the theater? Right? They tell you to turn off your phone, and you're just focused on the task at hand, which is watching the movie. So how can
Mhm.
you incorporate theater mode? No distractions for the projects and the things that you love. I know Saturday, complete theater mode, just being on my mountain bike, just riding, right?
Well,
Anytime
and
there's really any activity like that. Go ahead.
Apple has a built-in feature where you can set focus modes and turn off your notifications. I do that at night. My phone automatically goes into sleep mode, which turns off all my notification, all my apps, and the only people that can get through to me are people that I have designated as favorites in my contacts. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's it.
no,
And I'm not being woken up by the sound of bings or whatever your notification sound is.
yeah, yeah. No, and that's good because you shouldn't be like Pavlov's dog trying to get a treat, with
Mhm.
every ding and whistle that comes off your device, and all of this, the news and the fear mongering will definitely, it captures your attention, and then you're engrossed in it. Then you start worrying about the future, and you start worrying about things that you can't control, and it's not good. So, um, just I guess the takeaway, or when I was talking about what do you want to talk about on Monday, is just realize that we have to live our life. We can't live in complete fear. But you shouldn't be reckless about it either. Like I think that I recently was at a traffic accident. There's a common intersection in my town where probably at least once every 2 weeks there's probably an accident. And this gentleman got hit by he was on a motorcycle and got hit by a car. And this just kind of struck me as like this is one of those, like, we live under this like assumption that everything is like you're gonna like danger is not there. He was laying on the ground, and there's like a group of people just standing around him. No one really kind of knew what to do, and no one had like any type of like trauma kit or anything. So immediately when I saw it, I pulled over. I have a trauma kit in my dashboard. I pull it out and I grab up and I run up, and just kind of just gave a little bit of guidance to what needs to do. Someone was already calling 911 because the first thing you want to do. So someone had did that, but everyone else kind of standing around him. Got the motorcycle out of the way, and the fire truck came up. But I just felt like people didn't really know what to do. And I've had a few incidences like that where people just weren't prepared with this thing that was happening. There was another incident where I was at work and someone was down in the bathroom and they quit breathing, right? And had to do CPR. Well, someone ran upstairs to yell that someone was, dying in the bathroom, but everyone was just standing around, like. And I think that we just need to have a better mindset of just being prepared for things in general when they happen. And that's just the basics, right? Basic self defense, maybe some basic medical skills, some basic financial preparedness, a 72-hour kit, have a plan to hunker down in your home, have a plan to leave your home. And what does that look like? And have those conversations and just be prepared, but not paralyzed by whatever is happening in the world. Does that make sense? I guess that's my kind of the takeaway for today is what are your preparedness plans look like?
Yeah, I feel like you can't be prepared for everything, but you need to be prepared for what matters most to you and what will affect your family. That's kind of how I look at it. I mean, I think everyone should take a basic self defense course and a remedial basic self defense refresher. Heck yeah, man. I mean, nobody cannot benefit from that. If you can set that up and participate, do it 100%. Um, everyone should have their financial affairs in order as much as you possibly can. We went through this in the forge. Um, we put together our binders and our books, and the book that I have, I'm dead now what, that you get to leave your family if something were to happen to you. Just be prepared for what matters most to you. And for me, that's my family. No matter what, if it's me crossing the street out here to go for a run around the track and getting hit by a car, I mean, um, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But, you know, all I'm saying is you can being prepared never hurt anybody. It only helped everybody. And, do you want to be that person that causes your family to spend hours and hours and hours trudging through junk mail that you didn't take time to throw away, but yet you mixed in with all your important documents? Or do you want to be the person that is able to say, hey, look, my binder with all my important documents are in this fireproof safe, and this is the code. If you ever need it, this is where to go to get it. And, help them out a little bit while they're trying to get everything in order.
Yeah. And I tell you, I think when we went through that exercise with the Forge, because it was like a 6 week deal, and everyone felt more prepared, they felt more confident. And I think with all of the uncertainty in the world, there's a lot of things that are uncertain, and we're trying to grasp for control, which is why we worry. But by having control over your own destiny and having confidence in your own preparedness, gives more confidence to deal with just the day-to-day uncertainty. The more that I feel like my affairs are in order, and the more prepared that I feel with my fitness and finances, and like I feel more resilient in general. I mean, I don't know will World War III break out? There's nothing that I can do about it. There's nothing any of us as an individual can really do about that. But you can be prepared and have some more confidence and lead your family, by just control what you can control. Kind of goes back to what Jordan Peterson says. You want to change the world, start by making your bed and, cleaning your house and keeping all your own affairs in order. Right. And
Hmm.
start there. And it's a good reminder, if individually we all had our own stuff together, there'd probably be less concern in the world in general. But we're too focused as a society on what everyone else is doing and what the world is doing, and we don't have our own stuff in order, and it adds to the chaos, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no matter what your consumption is of whatever is going on outside of your home in the news, I just think that it's a good thing to have a plan in place no matter what. Those of us that we've lost people, we know how hard it is having to get affairs in order. And that's just what I always go back to. I've got things that I still need to do. I've got wills that need to be updated. I'm not 100% prepared. Uh, our good friend Nadine, man, her and Kevin are on it. If I could be like anybody and be prepared for anything, it would definitely be Nadine and Kevin. And Jay, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, they are prepared. And there are things that I need to wrap up, and some strings I need to tie together. But it's really don't don't let the don't let outside forces direct how you react and how you act. Just get it done. Get it done for your own peace of mind, no matter what. And it just takes one less thing off your plate and out of the back of your mind.
Yeah. But I don't have time. But I've got time for 2.5 hours of social media and news every day. No,
Yes,
it's a
yes.
matter of making a checklist, right? It's one of those. Preparedness is one of those things that's kind of like, I know I need to do it, but I've got just wrapped up in the day to day, and it's not something. It's like an insurance policy. It's one of those things. It's not forefront of mind, but it's definitely something that you take care of, and it'll give you more confidence and courage to navigate, and just watch your consumption with all of that craziness that's out there anyway. And just focusing on gratitude in the present, and to your point of making someone else, adding kindness to the world, kind of counteracts all this craziness and chaos that you're constantly hearing about in the news. And good news stories doesn't get the same type of press as the scary stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Although I guess it also depends on what your algorithm is, because my algorithm is full of funny dog stories.
Animals and cats.
Yeah.
My daughter's constantly
I'm
sending me cat videos.
I'm pretty sure I was, because I'm in this hotel room for the next little bit, and I'm pretty sure I was laughing way too loud the other night.
Yeah, yeah. My social media is curated pretty good. Now, I don't have when I choose to tune into the news, it's not curated. I have no control over that, but it's not curated the same
Yeah.
as my social media feed.
Mm,
It's all doom and
I don't
gloom.
know. I don't know. I beg to differ a little bit there. I think you have control. I think we all have control over the
Oh, I
sources that
have
we
control by
choose to
changing the
consume.
channel, but I'm just saying if you just
Yeah,
tune into
yeah.
that news channel and
Oh,
that's all
yeah,
you're
yeah,
focusing on, yeah.
yeah,
So,
for sure. Mhm.
but yeah. So
So how do we become more prepared, Jay? Let's give them a few tips and tricks here on some of the things that we can do at our level to just be prepared in general.
I say that first and foremost, I think you start with self, and I think that you need to just be physically healthy
Okay.
because I know in my social circle and world, this last year or two have been fraught with a lot of loss, a lot of disease that are ending people's lives prematurely. I also think that to be fit enables you to have the ability to deal with not only just your overall health and wellness and well-being, but the ability to manage stress. You just feel better. You're more optimistic and hopeful about the future when you are healthy. And so I think it's the mindset and the physical, the physical and mental well-being go hand in hand. So it starts foremost with that. What is your how are you managing your stress? How are you exercising? How are you eating well? How are you managing your mental well-being? I
Hmm.
know at my lowest points when I was consuming uh, just 24-hour news. This is back in the early 2000s. I was listening to like talk radio all the time. I was getting so angry about the government and what the president did today, and it would just affect. I would carry that negative energy with me into my work and my relationships. And I'm like, okay, this isn't healthy for me. I basically quit all of that and got rid, and I'm so much happier now. So I'm far more aware of my consumption and in those areas. But I think it starts with mental health and physical health and well-being. That's number one.
I would agree. I would agree 100%.
And then aside from that, I think having financial preparedness, having what does that look like for you, and that's probably having some savings in the bank, and just having your affairs in order, kind of going back to do you have enough insurance, do you have enough health insurance, do you have enough medical insurance, do you have those levers in place to protect you, because I think finances give you freedom, and the
Hmm.
more freedom you have, the more options you have. And so, and that's going to be different for everybody, but what is your financial readiness? And then kind of going back to some of the basics, do you have a 72-hour kit? And I was talking to Lacey not too long ago. Like we need to have a plan for like staying in home, but you also need to have a bug out plan. And where's the rally point if something? We live in two different cities, and where would we meet if something were to happen and we had to leave the city, our city? Where would we go? And we lost communication. What does that look like? Well, we've got a designated spot that we would meet. And so just having a plan, like thinking through, like what is your plan to shelter in place? What is your plan to if you had to leave? What does that look like? What are some of the things that you have done, or anything to add to those?
I really don't have anything to add. I mean, I think those are all great things. I think mental health and well-being and physical health and well-being are definitely up there on the list. That falls in line just with your basic everyday, skills of self-defense and knowing what to do in the event, um, something happened. I was watching the news, or somebody was telling me about this new thing where people, when you park your car, your car automatically unlocks for a lot of vehicles. And so in some places, some criminals have been driving up behind you, waiting for you to park, put your car in park, and then kind of sneaking out around to the passenger door. And as soon as your car unlocks, opening up the door and reaching in and grabbing your purse or whatever, and jumping in their getaway car and leaving. And so, just being alert and aware, and knowing the trends of what's going on, or could be a trend of what's going on in your area, just to stay vigilant against um, any type of crime that could happen to you. Um, but even going a little bit further back of what we were talking about, mental health and well-being, set those timers on your phones. uh, Restrict the amount of time that you're scrolling social media, that you're replace some of that time with meditation and self-reflection, and whatever that looks like to you, just for a really balanced and healthy mental state. Really, I think it's just very important in the foundation of everything that we do. And I mean, we don't sponsor the book. We don't create the book. We didn't create it. But there's a book out there called I'm Dead Now What? And it sounds, pretty morbid, but it's really good. It has got a lot of really good information for you if you buy the book and fill it out for your loved ones in the event, you know, something happens to you
Yeah.
that you weren't expecting. You can hand this book over and help your friends and family. I mean, help your family out when wrapping up affairs. And um yeah, just a lot of the little things that just build on top of one another.
Yeah. Be prepared. Don't live in fear, but have your own control the controllables, which is what you can control in your own sphere, your own circle of influence. What is that for you? And mental, physical health, your finances, and just having your own affairs in order is probably the best things that you can do. And then start in your own local community. Just add some kindness, be of help, of service, and you need to be aware of what's going on in the world, but you can't be paralyzed by it. And if you're, then don't overconsume it. That's the best way I think that we can navigate this world and find balance, peace, and happiness.
Hmm.
Because the chances are, I mean, what's really going to happen to you, the tragic things that will happen to you, are more than likely not going to be what's going to be on the news. It's going to be probably more a car accident, maybe a natural disaster of some kind, something silly happening in your neck of the woods. And are you prepared for that? Do you have the basics covered there? So, and
Yep.
by being prepared, I think that's having a warrior mindset, not living in fear, but just being prepared and having the skills and the knowledge and the resources to take action and lead when you have to. And that's the best way that we can find balance in living in this world that's feels like it's just fallen apart. But it's always been that way. It's always, anytime you watch the news, you just think that we're on the precipice of the end times, right? And I've even heard people talking about prophecy on. Is that useful? I don't know. It doesn't serve me. I mean, to live in fear. I mean, I guess if it's time to go, it's time to go. But I don't know. We just can't live. We can't have like lockdown on Friday because there's some call for terrorism. You just got to be smart about what you're doing. So I don't know. Those are just some of the things that I'm thinking about. I just feel that there's a lot of people that are fearful, and we can't live that way.
Mm-mm.
So, all right. Well, hey, let's transition now to our weekly winner here. Give me a second here. I love this part of the week. Why? There we go. There we go. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can you see my screen there? For those that are listening, I always pop up the images on the live feed. This is Kelly Sobolski. She's from Columbia, Missouri. And this is awesome. The Rockbridge Revenge is a big race that's out here in the Columbia Park system out here. And she celebrated her 61st birthday by running a 50K. 50K is an ultra. It's a 31 mile, right? On
Hmm.
trail. I just think it's awesome. So Kelly, congratulations for being this week's weekly winner. We're going to send you a Do Hard Things shirt, and it's just awesome. It's inspiring. At 61 years old, out there still getting after it. 50K is no easy feat. She's the mother of 3 grown kids. She also works for the school district as an administrator. So we appreciate your work and your service and your contribution to the community. And just thanks for inspiring others. I think it's freaking awesome. So I like the photo there to the right. She's river crossing. So not just running on pavement. We're like busting through the woods here.
Yeah, and you've done a 50K before, right, Jay?
Oh yeah, I've done a few. Yeah.
Yeah. It is no joke. If you've never run a 50K, it's no joke. It is so hard. And she celebrated her 61st birthday.
61st. Yep.
Man.
This is for I'm assuming it's her birthday cake. She's eating cake somewhere, or she's just feeling
goals. Everybody, this should be your 61st-year-old goals right here to run 31 miles. Man, that is awesome.
I always said I want to run a marathon with my grandkids. It's been my health and wellness goal. So I see Kelly out there getting after it. It's just inspiring to me. And even, out like on, I was running that 50-mile bike race over the weekend. A bunch of people in their 60s and 70s out there still getting after it at long distances, right? So stay on top of your health and just live that healthy life. It's awesome. So keep doing hard things.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm telling you right now, she has got a great smile. You see her smile?
She's smiling. She's making other people smile.
Yes. That would definitely make me smile.
Yeah. No, good deal. Well, that's it for today's episode. So big takeaway. Just, I know the world is crazy, but we got too many blessings. We have happiness can only be found in the present moment. And we've got to be reminded of that. Control what you can control. Limit your intake of all the craziness, and focus on self.
Yeah, go out there and make somebody else smile today. I'm smiling already. I did not wake up smiling because I hit snooze on my alarm and I was like, oh no, what time is it? But I'm smiling now because I made
Get out
it on
there
time.
and crush Monday in the palm of your hand. Get after it the rest of the week. And
That's right.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right, we'll see ya.